welcome back to Colin's Arran garden, and I hope your garden's exploding like mine and you're having a great time with your vegetables. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about one or two more unusual vegetables, well, unusual for me anyway. Now I've got this polytunnel. If any of you are lucky enough to have a greenhouse or a polytunnel, or you can have a raised bed with just some plastic over it, then you could grow some sweet potatoes. Now, sweet potatoes are fantastic. They're wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But this is a potato. A potato and a sweet potato are not from the same family. The potato's from, I think, Deadly Nightshade, and I think the sweet potato is something like Morning Glory family. So you cannot take a sweet potato and just stick it in the ground like you can with a potato. You have to do something, you have to get slips from sweet potatoes. And I've seen a way on the internet to make slips. Instead of buying in slips from somewhere like Sutton's, which can be quite expensive, what you do is you take a sweet potato and you're very cruel to it. And what you do is you put a nail through the sweet potato, right? And you put one end in water. I have now learnt that you should do this in about February in Arran. February, somewhere warm in a windowsill. Because it takes about 2 months. But guess what? 2 months later, wait for this. 2 months later, you get a slip. Now, we'll lift this poor little sweet potato out of the jar and I'll show you the slip. That's the slip. You actually get several of them. And what you do is you then take a knife or a nail, or you just brutally rip it off, and you take that in about late April, May, and just stick it in the ground like that. Right? That's it, planted. And come over here, and over in this direction you'll see what you get. You get sweet potatoes. I have to be honest with you and tell you that these sweet potatoes I bought from Sutton's, but I know next year if I put this procedure together quickly enough, I'll be able to grow my own in here. And the other thing about sweet potatoes, apart from having to be inside and warm, I think you really do need a deep bed, because where they grow, they form a big circle like that underneath the ground. And the bigger, the deeper the bed, I think the more sweet potatoes you get. I'm going to throw a photograph here of a sweet potato I grew a couple of years ago, and here it comes. I've been really trying. I was really pleased to produce that sweet potato. I bet you would be too. Now, apart from the sweet potato, the other thing I'd like to talk about is ginger. Now, I know that most of you watching this programme are actually from North Ayrshire, so ginger is not something you get out of a bottle. No, ginger is actually something that's now almost commonplace in a lot of our cooking, in stir fries and curries. If you have some fancy foreign meal without ginger in it, guess what? It's like garlic or chilli. You really need that ginger, right? So I thought I'll grow my own ginger, because you can do that in a polytunnel. You could do it in a pot, in a warm room, somewhere with a bit of light and a bit of heat. And I thought that would be good fun. So I found out on the internet you can actually do that in a place like in a polytunnel. So what did I do? I went to the local shop in Arran and spent a lot of money getting ginger. Nah, no growing points, because there's got to be little growing points, and the ginger here is very expensive and very dry. So I used my brains. I went on to Amazon and I had some ginger sent from the Chinese rainforest, and it cost an arm and a leg. And guess what? When it arrived, it was dreadful. It was worse than the ginger in the co-op. Look at that, dried out. And I've now learned, I understand, you pick up ginger, you can almost tell from the weight, from the smell, hopeless. So I thought a bit more, and I got a pal in the south side of Glasgow, and I realised an Asian supermarket, that's the place. So my pal, Neil MacDonald, wonderful man, he sent me a whole box of ginger. Now this ginger is heavy. Look at that, isn't that fantastic? It's heavy, it smells like ginger, and what you do is, I've learned from the internet, you see these growing points here, these little white things there, right? What you do is you get yourself a knife. Can you go in this direction, please? and you get yourself a knife or a pair of scissors or something like that, and you actually just cut off bits, right? Or you break off bits. So let's break off a bit, and yeah, let's break off this bit here. That's quite a big bit. Break it in two, right? And if you're over here, if you like to show, this is a bed I prepared earlier. I'm having plans to inundate Brodick and Arran with ginger next year. I think I could grow quite a bit. However, here we are in July, and to be honest with you, I think I might be 5-6 weeks too late. I'm not sure. It's nice and warm. I think this is going to take several months, but here you go. You just take this with a growing end and you put it there, right? And then you just stick it under the ground about that depth, cover it up, give it a kiss, speak to it nicely, and I think in a few months' time we'll get nice big bits of ginger. And I understand that when you get freshly grown ginger, if you take the skin off, you can freeze it, and apparently it's wonderful. So, yeah, ginger's great. The other plant I'd like to talk about is over here. A friend of mine in Arran told me that there's somebody on Arran who's very keen on something called Thai Basil. I've got the ordinary basil, so I thought I'll grow the Thai Basil. So I do have a few plants of Thai Basil. And those gardeners that are actually watching will know that I haven't actually trimmed this properly. I think I should have got a bush. It's a bit of a mess. But I tell you what, this is going out on several sites, this video. It'll be going out in the Arran Community Forum. If that individual would like to have some plants of Thai Basil, you're welcome to them, free, gratis and for nothing. Right, so there you are. That's the Thai Basil, the ginger and the sweet potato. Well, we're really motoring here in Arran.